If you go into Gate 3, there are 3 paths in the beginning. Team 1 is divided into center, and Team 2 is divided into left and right. Kill the named monster at the end. Damage reduction buffs from boss monster in the center disappears, making it easy to catch boss monster. Kill boss monster in the center, and you succeed. Whirlwind Bomb, or Flame Grenade. And Swiftness Robe, Time Stop Potion. You have to set up your seat before you start. The first position is the position used for the pattern on the HP 145 line, and HP 0 pattern. Team 1 is a number times 3 is a party. Team 2 is determined by number multiplication, plus 1 position. The second position will be used by HP 45 in important patterns. I will explain this in detail in HP 45 pattern. I'll tell you the most important patterns in the order of HP 145, stagger after uncle pattern. When boss monster becomes HP 145, move to the center. An X-shaped meteorite falls first. Then the meteorite falls in a cross shape. At this time, Team 1 is moved to the position of number times, and Team 2 is moved to the position of number times 3, plus 1. I'm going to the location where the meteorite fell. If you go to the location, you will see the keyboard pattern. We're going to succeed quickly. Go straight to boss monster, and I play stagger. If the meteorite is not in position, the meteorite will explode, causing a damage and an increased damage debuff. HP 100, Medusa Stagger. When you get to boss monster's HP 100, move to the center. Going to play stagger with Medusa iPad. There are 2 types of iPad, I to look at, and I not to look at. You have to look at the round eye, and put in the stagger. Don't look at the snake eye, and put in the stagger. If the first snow came out with round eyes, it kept coming out with round eyes. It appears clockwise or counterclockwise continuously, so when the eyes disappear, you can figure out the next location and move to the position in advance and play stagger. For example, if a snake's eye comes out of the 1 o'clock direction in real life and turns counterclockwise, don't look into the eyes, just move counterclockwise and play stagger. If you have snake eyes, you have to play stagger instead of looking at them, but if you look at them, the character falls far away. Be careful because it hurts if you keep getting hit by overlapping. Using Sidereals skill in this pattern. There's also a quick way to get over the stagger. HP 85, reinforced. When you reach the boss HP 85, the boss monster floats into the air. When broadened, we use enhanced little patterns. HP 45, shape pattern. I thought it would be very confusing and difficult when you first see the pattern. I'll give you a basic explanation and a detailed explanation. With HP 45, the boss monster moves to the center. The map has star, square, and diamond shapes. At this point in the middle of what's called the interior, 2 people break 3 star shapes of the right color to avoid eye contact. At 1, 11 and 6 o'clock outside, you have to break 3 square or diamond shapes before the purple pad pops. After that, if the square gathers at 6 o'clock and the diamond is far away, it is basic to avoid the die pattern with an invincible buff. First of all, we have 2 people who break the inner star before we leave. Let's choose 3 people for square and 3 people for diamond. At this time, each job has a job that is comfortable breaking down stars. Because there are jobs that are easy to break down, squares and diamonds. You need to make sure your job is possible to get rid of internal stars beforehand. Let me tell you the inner star first. Star shapes are yellow, red, and blue. 9 star shapes, 3 each, appear around boss monster. Medusa iPad, which you shouldn't look at, comes out. At this point, there is a random color of aura around boss monster, red, blue, and yellow. Except for the color of boss monster's aura. You have to destroy the colors of star. The important thing is to destroy 3 in the same color only. Because aura color is random, the 2 people in the star shape should not overlap in color. Decide whether to do red or blue and yellow before you start. Red, yellow and blue and yellow are the colors and priorities that you have to destroy. When you choose red or yellow, if there is a blue aura in boss monster, it destroys the red star. If there is a yellow aura in boss monster, it destroys the red star. If there is a red aura in boss monster, it destroys the yellow star. When you choose blue or yellow, if there is a blue aura in boss monster, it destroys the yellow star. If there is a yellow aura in boss monster, it destroys the blue star. If there is a red aura in boss monster, it destroys the blue star. If you destroy 3 star shapes of your own color, a square or diamond appears randomly above the head. When the square comes out, go to the 6 o'clock direction. Stand close to prevent the line from breaking with the member who destroyed the square. When the diamond comes out, you can go outside so that other members and lines are not connected. Avoid all die patterns with invincible buffs. When you destroy the star shape, you need to be careful. If you destroy a shape other than your own star shape, the shape does not appear above your head. If you don't have a shape above your head, all die. The whole figure that doesn't look like it doesn't get an invincible buff. Next is the square shape. Square shapes occur clockwise from 1 o'clock, sequentially from 1 to 1 o'clock. The location should be 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 11 o'clock, with 3 people destroying the square shape. Destroying shapes varies from group to group. Please decide in advance and enter. The most commonly used methods are 1, 2, and 9. It means destroying shapes 1, 2, and 9 based on the 1 o'clock direction. 1 o'clock is number 1, 2, 9. 6 o'clock is 3, 4, and 5. 11 o'clock is the 6th, 7th, and 8th. You can destroy both sides from where you stand. The second way is 1, 2, 3. You can destroy 3 clockwise based on your position. You just need to know the difference between 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 9. If you subsequently destroyed 3 of your square shapes at each location, you move to the 6 o'clock position and gather. This connects the star member and line with a square shape in the internal star. You can avoid the all die pattern by obtaining an invincible buff. This is the last rhombus. Unlike the square, the rhombus is clockwise from 6 o'clock. It occurs sequentially from 1 to 9. The seats are the same at 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 11 o'clock. 3 people will take care of the shapes. You can destroy the shapes on both sides of your location in 1, 2, and 9. If they destroyed 3 in their respective positions, move away so that other members and lines do not connect. Avoiding all die with invincible buffs. The important thing here is that if you don't destroy 3 squares and rhombus, you die. Instead, if you destroy 4 shapes, the other member dies together because there are only 2 shapes left to destroy. Only 3 must be destroyed. HP 0 red blue pad. When you reach HP 0 on boss monster, move to the center. In the same position as the HP 145 keyboard pattern. Blue is cross-shaped and red is X-shaped. Move to Team X3 and Team 2X3, pulls 1, at the position you decided at this time. You have to step on it 1 by 1 in your seat. After you light up the pad, you will see pause in the random position. If you stepped on the blue pad first, all subsequent pads in the random position must also be stepped on in blue. Like this, members step on the pad that fits their colors. If the buff under the boss monster HP bar is more than 6 layers, it is a success. Let me explain the tips and things you need to know about HP 0 pattern. If all 8 of them were alive, even if several people go inside the pad, the overlap builds up. Step on the pad that is the same color as your own nearby. But if a few people die and the member to step on the pad is gone, one person has to step onto 2-3 pads. The first color pad to be stepped on is random. The pad order is set to first position symmetry counterclockwise symmetry. If I were to describe it as a blue pad, there's a pad in the 7 o'clock direction. A pad is formed in the 1 o'clock direction opposite to the 7 o'clock direction. There's a pad in the 1 o'clock. Counterclockwise from 1 o'clock pad. Pad will be formed at 10 o'clock. Finally, a pad appears in the 4 o'clock direction, which is symmetrical to 10 o'clock. If you know this principle, 1 red pad and 1 blue pad, you can clear this pattern with a total of 2 people. It's okay if you can't step onto pads because you can succeed if you pile up 6 layers. The following are important little patterns. Star, feeding the pentagon. After the boss monster moves to the center, it becomes a dark. After that, boss monster has a large star or pentagon shape. Star and pentagon shapes appear on the floor. If boss monster had a pentagon shape, bring the pentagon figure and feed it to boss monster. Member can eat the rest of the star shapes. The tip is to eat the shape that comes out. When you're in a dark state, you're close to boss monster. When the shape comes out, you can go around and drag the aggressor. Stars and pentagonal shapes also appear symmetrically. For example, if a star comes out of its position at 1 o'clock, the pentagon appears in the 5 o'clock direction. If you know where it comes out, you can quickly clear the pattern. If you feed boss monster the shapes, the invincible pad appears in the 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 7 o'clock directions. The invincible pad needs 2 people to survive. At this time, the choice of positions where 2 people go in pairs is, Team 2 will move to its original number, x3, plus 1 position. Team 1 is number x3, plus 1, and you can move with Team 2. If you fail to feed the shape, or if you only get 1 person in the invincible pad, since I receive a total of 5 big damage. If he's dead, or if he can't get in. The first explosion of damage was met. Use time stop potion immediately. If the shape feed fails, please make sure to succeed because there is no invincible pattern for directions. A maze pattern. After boss monster moves to the center, members all go silent. After that, when you touch it, a maze wall that becomes rigid appears, and a red pad is formed on the floor. Avoid the wall before the red pad explodes. Move outside and enter a safe location. At this time, a debuff of gold spear is created randomly from 1 to 3 members. The branded member looked at minimap. Move to the yellow position, and step on the pad. If one of the branded members didn't come to the yellow position, member all are in a state of fascination for 5 seconds. Also, if you can't get out of the maze and go to a safe zone outside, almost killed by exploding pad. A pattern of confinement. Boss monster explodes a purple confinement pad in a circle around him. Member attacks for randomly on the captive pad 1 time. However, in HP 85 and below, boss monster uses an enhanced pattern, so it attacks the confinement pad a total of 4 times. At this time, I avoid it by going back and forth. If someone is in custody, release them after the pattern is complete. When the confinement pattern is over, boss monster is fast counter timing. The motion is fast and the liquid line time is short. It's not easy to hit the counter. In case of failure, boss monster attacks back and forth. What you need to be careful about in this pattern. If you go outside, the confinement pad drops a lot, and it's hard to avoid. If you're held in captivity outside, you'll continue to be hit by the captive pad, and you'll die. The following describes important counter patterns. Every time boss monster uses a pattern, the layers are stacked under the boss monster HP bar. When this buff becomes a 5-fold overlap, it starts the counter pattern. As for the pattern type of the 5-layer counter, 1-line drawing. Boss monster disappears for a moment and then appears and rolls weapon long down the 1 line. I do it twice in total. Weapon goes all the way to the 1 line and then comes back. If you get hit by weapon, you're being dragged around. You just have to stand in a safe position. Waffle. After the waffle-shaped pad is formed, roll the weapon. Then teleport to the center. Roll the long weapon 1 more time with the 1 line. When the weapon roll is over, it's counter timing. Since this is not a counter in the target direction, check the head of the boss monster and hit the counter. An alter ego stabbing. There's an alter ego around boss monster. The alter ego attacks from the outside to the inside. If it's between the alter ego and the alter ego, it might not fit the stabbing attack. If you get hit by a stabbing attack, you get stiff. It hurts a lot more than you think, so be careful. When the alter ego attacks are over, counter timing to target. An alter ego swing. There's an alter ego around boss monster. The alter ego wields a spear from the outside. If you get hit, you get stiff, and when you're done swinging, counter timing to target. Here are the little patterns of boss monster. A throw of beads. Boss monster spears over his head. A red or blue pad appears. The red pad throws a bead outward. Then throw the bead inwards. If it's a red pad, it's inside. It's safe to move outside. The blue pad throws a bead inside. Then throw the bead outward. If it's a blue pad, it's on the outside. You can go inside. A black hole. Boss monster turned and swung spear up. For black hole-shaped black beads are exported from 4 directions. The bead explodes after a while and falls when it is hit. This pattern is used when brought in after boss monster HP 85. The pattern is enhanced. It exports small black beads. If you get hit by a bunch of tiny beads that come out of this, you could die. It hurts. Stay away from boss monster. Be careful not to get hit by several. Flower pad. Boss monster wields spear in a circle. Draw a line in the shape of a pinwheel in 3 directions. The flower pad explodes. If you get hit, you fall. You can stay close and explode continuously. When the pattern begins, stay away from boss monster for a while. After watching the flower pad explode, you can go inside and attack. Drawing shapes. Boss monster swings a big spin over his head. Draw a shape on the floor. When the shape is complete, it explodes immediately and falls when it is hit. You can avoid the bottom part or the outer part that is not drawn on the figure. Whirlwind. Boss monster pulls the spear back and spins it several times. If you are hit by 2 to 3 rounds after the action, swing spear once more. If the team has a large number of long-distance dealers, the healer will take over. It's also a good idea to extend the attack time. A cross-shaped safety zone. The boss is in the air. There's a cross on the floor. There are waves in 3 places except for the safe zone. You can quickly identify the safe zone and move. If you get hit, you'll fall. 11 shape. The boss monster floats in the air and on the floor. After drawing an 11 shape, the waves go outside. You can stay inside. This pattern is divided into 2 types: inner safety and outer safety. Pink inner safety pad. The boss picked up the weapon and got ready to take it down. There is a pink circular pad in the front. The boss monster then hits the weapon, and the outside explodes except for the pink pad. It's safe inside the pad. If it's on the outside, please be careful because it's pushed out once. Purple exterior safety pad. After boss monster is ready to take down the spear, there is a purple circular pad in the front. After that, boss monster takes a picture of weapon down with a purple pad. And it's safe outside. If it's inside the yellow pad, it pulls it in once. Please be careful. Weapon rotation. Boss monster holds the weapon. Waves occur outside except around boss monster. It's safe to stay inside boss monster. And then boss monster throws weapon. This pattern is enhanced when boss monster is brought in after HP 85. The weapon thrown by boss monster keeps spinning around, and if you get hit, you get a lot of damage. Please be careful not to get hit. Jump. Boss monster flies up. I'm going to burn myself to the part I'm going to take down. Afterwards, boss monster shoots. If you tap it down, you'll see a donut-shaped pause that explodes on the outside. Check where the boss is going to land. Check where boss monster will land. Close to boss monster or go far outside. An alter ego rush. Boss monster summon his alter ego. Tell them where to rush and then rush. This pattern is used when the HP 85 is broadened. Make a triangle and rush 3 times in total. Rush. Boss monster approaches the backstopper target. Tell them where to rush to the floor and then rush. Stabbing. Boss monster stabs target. After that, after teleporting with a high probability, they charge with a spear wielding. When HP 85 is rabid, after a stabbing attack, the alter ego on both sides appears and stabs together. Stabbing on both sides. Boss monster swings his spear, then stabs it forward. After that, spear comes out from both sides and stabs. A down shot. There is a small pink circular pad in front of boss monster. Boss monster hits weapon where pad is formed. Finally, Sidereals Skill. Nineveh, Nineveh, Nineveh. On HP's 100th day, way instead of Nineveh. If the HP 45 pattern is still immature, there is a way to use Inanna. I'm informing you of the best timing to use Nineveh. Use Nineveh for whirlwind patterns. There is a way to match the pattern by inducing additional attacks. Flower pattern. Shape drawing. Cross or 11 shaped safety zone. Use Sidereals Skill on the last successful counter.